First of all, welcome to session one. We are talking about building your AI content system, and this is session one of 8 sessions. I'm going to be doing this every other Friday to give people time to actually think about and do the things that we talk about. And today, though, we're kicking it off, and we're going to kick it off where I don't think most AI webinars, training, conversations. I hate to call it a webinar. I just don't know what else to call it. But conversations talk about, and we're not talking about the tools, the system. That's what I really want to talk about today. And so in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you why your tools are under delivering or potentially under delivering. I'm going to walk you through the 5 pieces that every real AI content system needs. And then we're going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to audit your own workflow live together. And so let's go ahead and dive into this. What does this session look like? Much like the other ones. Here's how today's going to run. 30 minutes of training, no fluff, no filler, just the system that we're going to be talking about. Then 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer of live Q&A where I try to answer your actual questions, anything that you ask me. Everything is recorded. So if the dog starts to bark or a client pings you, don't sweat it. You'll get the replay. I'm going to send that out to everybody. And the chat is open the whole time. So drop questions, reactions, anything. I'm going to try to do my best to watch over there, but also know that, again, that Q&A can be at the end of this if you want. So with that, let's talk about what's actually going on with your content team. Here's where I want to start today. Not with AI, actually. I will get there. Trust me, we've got plenty of time. I don't want to start with tools. I want to start with the real reason your content team potentially is behind. And I promise you, it's not what most people think when they think about content teams being behind. And I'm going to ask you a question. You can put this in the chat pane. How many of you have content calendars that are more gaps than posts? And I want you to put that in the chat pane. Gaps or posts? Right now. And I need you to be honest. Like when we get together and have a conversation, AKA a training, it's all about honesty, being authentic, and really diving into like where we're at so I know where we got to get us. And here's the thing. I'm guessing what some of you will put gaps versus posts in there. Here's what I see every single week when I talk to business owners and marketing leaders. Teams are drowning. You've got 3 people trying to do work of 7 or 1 person trying to do the work of 4. And let's be honest, the calendar just has holes. And somewhere along the way, somebody said, hey, here's a good idea. Let's use ChatGPT or some other AI tool. And so now you have got 3 humans or 1 human and a ChatGPT tab, and the calendar still has holes, or even worse, it's got content that doesn't build trust and doesn't move the needle. And like, that's the thing that nobody really wants to say out loud. The team right now, content teams, are expected to do more output. Output has gone up. Your team's capacity, though, has not. And so the gap widens every week, every month. And you try to close it by adding humans, which is expensive and slower-ish. You can try to close it by using AI as like the fastest typewriter, which is what most teams are doing right now. But again, that barely moves the needle. Or you can close it with a system. A system is the only thing that scales without actually breaking. Trust me, humans, they break. Tools can break. Systems, you can put them in place and it will scale without breaking. And you can't out-tool a broken system. And I want you to think about that. You can't out-tool a broken system. More humans will not fix it. A paid ChatGPT seat will not fix it. Another prompt library floating around in somebody's Google Doc definitely will not fix it. And I want you to be real clear about something. This is not an AI problem that we're facing. This is a system problem that started long before AI ever showed up on the scene. AI just exposed it, because when you point a faster tool at a broken process, the process does not get better. It gets faster at producing broken output. And so tools without systems will never outperform systems that use tools. I feel like I need to say that for the people in the back seats, the cheap seats. There are no cheap seats here, by the way, but tools without systems will never outperform systems that use tools. And that is the shift that we're making today. So if tools are not the answer and more humans are not the answer, then what is? And what I want to show you are 5 pieces that I found that are just game changing. Every real AI content system has these 5 things. And as I walk through each one, I want you to listen for which ones you already have and which ones are potentially missing or fractured or a piece of it, because the missing ones, that's where your calendar, where your content, where your production or producing process is leaking. So 5 pieces that we're going to talk about today: identity, configuration, frameworks, knowledge, and workflow. And every piece has a job, and together they run, but miss one and the whole thing starts to break down. And I'm going to walk you through each one right now, and then we're going to score you on all 5 in about 10 or maybe 15 minutes. We'll reach the point where you get to score what you're doing on what we actually talk about. So the first piece is identity, your brand's digital identity document or documents. This is the single biggest thing that separates teams producing on-brand AI content from teams producing generic AI slop. And here's the deal. AI does not know what you stand for. It doesn't know your voice, your tone, your values, your beliefs, your audience, or the examples of what you believe to be great work. And when you open ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever tool you're using and you say something like, write me a blog post, you're asking it to take a shot in the dark without any context. And here's the thing, AI fills in blanks on its own. And with those blanks, it's usually wrong. Like, it's gonna get it wrong compared to the context of who you are, the business that you have, and the humans that you search every single time. And it's not because AI is broken. It's because you didn't give it what it actually needed. And part of that is identity. An identity document or set of documents fixes this piece. Okay. So when you think about identity, I want to get very specific, and you might want to jot this down, or when you watch the recording of this, 8 elements of identity: values, your organizational values, your beliefs, your mindsets, your business identity, your audience, a persona, your voice guide, your tone rules, and again, an example bank of what is good and what is not good. This is multiple documents that every team member uses. And every AI tool gets the same foundation for the projects or individual chats that you're going to do with this. And trust me, we're going to build more on identity in session 2, because without identity, it's a garbage in, garbage out. So what I'm begging people who go through this training with us, with these conversations, is quit putting garbage in. Like, actually have the things in your pantry that you need to do good work with AI. And I'm not trying to be harsh here. This is me giving you the fastest path to better output, giving the AI what it needs to do the job right. And it will. Leave it to guess, and it'll produce content that sounds like everyone else. And identity is how you stop this. And so what I want to do is I want to actually show you, when I say identity, what I actually mean by this. Actually, I'm going to flip this one off. I'm going to bring this one up. So if you see right here, I have Sidekick Strategies Identity. Give me a thumbs up. Y'all can see that I'm showing you. Okay, good. You can see the tool that I'm showing you. When I talk about identity, I want you to realize in this folder, I have brand values and principles. And so for us, our core brand values: human first, partnership over transaction, results that follow through. And notice, like, this is a robust document, even telling it what the theme is, which, by the way, is family and team, because when you hire your wife, your daughters, and your sons, and you're trying to share them with the world of your team, and they're your family. Anyway, it gets confusing. But notice services and capabilities, a start here document, voice and tone guide, who we serve. And now what I can do when I go to work with an AI agent outside of the system that we've actually built with Claude Code, I at least have this path that I can copy and say, hey, here's my business identity. Which, by the way, I could also do my personal identity. And you can see I've even gone as so far as to give it a timeline of who I am, who I was, what I was doing, where I was doing it. And so, like, all of the things that I have, these identity documents or identity folders that I can grab and use as tools to give the AI system context. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about when I talk about identity. Okay. Number 2 in this configuration, or is configuration, most teams open ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. They type a prompt, get an answer, and they move on. Every conversation starts from zero. The AI doesn't remember your brand, doesn't remember last week's campaign, doesn't remember your voice. Configuration changes that. Custom instructions are important. So every conversation starts already knowing your brand. Project workspaces that hold context across campaigns. Persistent memory, so your AI partner gets smarter over time. And when this is set up right, any team member can pull up the same workspace and get consistent on-brand output. Now, we're going to talk about this deeper in session 3. But if you haven't revisited your ChatGPT, I'll give an example, custom instructions since you launched it, or you've never gone in and actually had a conversation with ChatGPT about how to fill out the 3 boxes the best way for what you do, the organization you work for, and who you serve, and actually had a working session with ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity of what to fill those boxes in, do that. If you're not using projects in a way where it's very specific to here's the instructions of the thing that we're working on for this project, and here's the files and folders and examples we want you to use, now let's have a conversation. We need to do that. If you're not asking ChatGPT or other tools that have the ability to save this to my memory on things that are important, then we've got to start at least having this layer of configuration around custom instructions, project instructions, and memory. Because again, I'll talk about how we actually use Claude Code, and we've built a system past just the general tools. But for many of you, you might be using the desktop app of ChatGPT or Claude or something like that. And this part is a piece that is very important to have in place. Okay. Number 3 is frameworks. And this is where most teams that I've talked to, worked with, go wrong, because they confuse prompts with frameworks. A prompt is a one-off. A framework is a tested, reusable structure. A blog post framework, email framework, a social post framework, a case study framework. You build them once, you test them with real outputs, you iterate and tweak, and your whole team then, once it's in place, can use these frameworks forever. No more every person from scratch. No more, George, can you send me that prompt you used? It's like, no, we've got this framework. We built it. We set it up. It's documented. We've refined it. Now we share it or make it in a way that other people can use it. Again, shared projects is a great example of kind of getting started with this. On this, though, iteration matters. You've got to iterate the frameworks to get them where you want them to go. I'm going to share 2 examples of frameworks that we've built. And by the way, both of these, or pretty much anything that we've built, has been built so that historical problems, historical issues don't have to be issues anymore. So number 1 I'm going to share with you is this right here. earlier today. And when I say earlier today at 10 a.m., we did this show right here. It literally says, welcome to our live show 44 minutes ago. We got 2 views on it. Don't care, by the way. Why did I go live? Not because of viewers, because I needed this link right here to this YouTube video that we created. Because if I come over here, you'll see that we've already written an article that has a dope thumbnail. Breeze Eats. Breeze is eating HubSpot. What the April 2026 updates actually mean. Has that live video that we did on it. And now you can see the robust article that was created based on the words that we were saying inside of that event. So publishing new content does not, for us, exist in the realm of that's difficult to do anymore. We create a podcast, we create a live video, and all of a sudden we've got content that we can publish. By the way, it took us all of about 7 to 10 minutes to publish what you're actually seeing because of frameworks. Meaning, if we look right here, there is a framework that is a skill, a / command, video to blog. And notice what happens when you invoke / video to blog. It transcribes it, pulls audio via YTDLP. Don't get stuck in that. Like, you don't have to know any of that. Just know that it happens. Transcribes with Gemini 2.5, gets the metadata, has Quinn, the subagent, read it, uses the super writer skill, yada, yada, yada. Morgan, the subagent, runs the generate thumbnail skill and Quinn's punch words, topic or keyword phrase. And then boom, because we've built a framework, we have this piece of content in 7 minutes. Here's another one. Historically, it was difficult for organizations to go through the case study process. In a week and a half of launching our new site, we literally have 8 case studies because we created a process where they can fill out a form that then goes into our process where we have the intake form. We have Quinn, our subagent, write the actual thing. It puts it in review. We add their logo and a picture of the human, and then we get to the published piece and we publish it. And so again, within about 15 to 20 minutes, we go from not having a case study to having a fully baked out case study that tells the story about how we're actually able to help clients kick butt with a testimonial. By the way, in this process, think of frameworks and systems. We get a testimonial here. And what's nice is automatically, I love that word, by the way, made it up about 10 years ago. If you go over to the testimonials section and we go down to the bottom, it automatically builds straight from our case study section and adds new testimonials as we add new case studies. Again, frameworks, not prompts. System thinking, not task thinking. Okay? By the way, if you're loving what I'm throwing down at the end of this, I would love for you to put a testimonial of like how dope the training was in the chat pane so I can just put it on future trainings so people see that we're actually adding real value in 30 minutes. In and out, get you back to what you need to do. Anyway, piece 4 is knowledge, your story bank, your research, your files, the past work, the examples, the data, the transcripts, the client wins, the internal memory that your AI can pull from. Here's a real example. When I write a blog post, I reach into my story bank and I've got tons, hundreds of documented stories, conversations, podcasts, client calls. The AI is not making stuff up. It's pulling from real material, my real life, my real material. And that's different between AI slop and AI with substance. Every piece of content I produce has a real moment, a real human, a real lesson behind it that is knowledge in action. And I want to show you what I mean by that, because if I come in here and we go into knowledge, what you're going to see is we have stories and there's Hub Hero stories. If we actually come into, I'll bring up this one. too, so I can show you. We have stories. Look, client stories. And then here are all the client stories, question new service, AI training service, multi-platform. And if I click in any of these, you see that it's data migration, multi-platform consolidation. There's tags. Hey, this would be good for a blog post, for a training. It's methodical, it's strategic, and here's the story. If I come back up into here, you'll see that not only do I have client stories, but I also have George stories. So if I close that up, by episode, meaning I did a podcast called Beyond Your Default. It's got 60 episodes. And I basically told the very interesting life that I have been blessed with. And either by episode or actually by index, 13 Hours from Death, 25th anniversary, expensive cruise flowers, 30 summers left, AI coding custom solutions. Like, these are all personal stories of things that I've gone through that now I can say, hey, as you write this article on this topic, look at my personal story bank and my professional story bank and pull in 1 to 2 stories that directly correlate to the thing that we're trying to teach. Knowledge. By the way, that knowledge, that timeline, that's what makes us us. In other words, I'm telling you, how do you get the most human side of you and your business into the digital.md format that you can then give to AI to create things that are actually you, like, or your organization. So don't sleep on the knowledge bank, story banks. Number 5, workflow. The actual repeatable weekly process, idea to draft, to review, to publish, to repurpose, to who does what, when, and how. Like, what's the, so I don't mean HubSpot workflows, like automation. I mean, what's the workflow, the handoff, the relay race? Because the first 4 pieces are not tied into a workflow. Your team runs every single week. If they're not, you don't have a system. But if you take the first 4 things that I talked about and you weave them into this, now you've got a system, because we're actually, this is our content workflow with our AI content system that is always human powered and AI assisted. Okay. You've got a collection of documents. You've got a collection of stages. You've got a collection of whatever it is. But that workflow at its simplest looks like this. Monday, you plan. Tuesday and Wednesday, you draft. Thursday, you review and edit. Friday, you publish and schedule. And then you think about repurposing. Like, that's a workflow. Now, here's the thing. I just gave you a workflow that is weekly, one thing. But you could do this workflow, and if you're doing it right, it could be 2 times a week. It could be 3 times a week. Heck, it could be daily. Nah, don't get crazy, George. Listen. It could be daily if you set it up the right way and you're using the things that I'm talking about. Okay. So one thing when it comes to planning that I do want to show is that we do have this ability. Let me log into something real quick. We do have the ability to think about what do we need to create. Well, I'll skip that because it's giving me a hard time. I'll just talk through it. How do we have the ability to create something that helps us, or use something that helps us actually ideate? One, and maybe by next session, I'll make sure I'm logged in and I can show you it. One, it comes down to, and I'm going to say a word, your brain's going to go to SEO. I don't care about SEO. I do care about SEO, but I care about AEO. And more than AEO and SEO, I care about the humans. And we still use words. And so keywords, topic words. Having a bank of those that you know that you want to use. So if you're using something like SEMrush to figure that out, or some other tool, we've literally, and again, next session, I'll show this, is we've created a tool that looks at our competitors, gives us keywords, and then we put a piece in it that it actually creates a content brief. It generates a content brief. So now we live in a world we can be like, hey, AI system, here's a content brief. Here's my story bank. Here's this. Here's that. My identity. Go ahead and write a rough draft for us on this topic. Boom. Because we're literally giving it a brief of like where it should go. Anyway, think about these workflows and how you can put this all together. Here's the rule. Miss any one of these 5 pieces and the whole system starts to get shaky, starts to break down. Teams with identity but no workflow produce beautiful docs nobody uses. Teams with workflow but no identity produces a lot of generic content fast. Teams with frameworks but no knowledge produce technically correct content, but it says nothing and it has no heart. You need all 5. That's the system. That's what we're building over the next 7 sessions. Most teams have 1 or 2 pieces. That's exactly why it's not working, and that's what we're about to change. So I want you to score your current workflow, right? And this is a time to be honest. And I want you to actually do this with me. Don't check your email. Don't check your calendar. Don't check the latest stock prices. Be here in the moment. And I want you to have a piece of paper. I didn't even give you the things to score on yet, Amy. And you're like, 1. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you the things, and I want you to start to score on these, right? I'm going to read each of the 5 pieces. And as I do, I want you to kind of think and score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means you have nothing in place. 3 means you have a rough draft or partial system. 5 means it's documented and your whole team uses it and it's producing consistent results. To which then I say, well, what are you doing here? But be honest as we go through this. Nobody's grading this other than you. The lower the score, the clearer the starting point. That's it. That's all that matters, right? So it's not a big deal. So number 1. Identity. Do you currently have documented identity documents that capture your brand's values, voice, tone, personas, and examples? And does your whole team use it with AI? Score yourself on that from 1 to 5. Number 2, configuration. Actually, I'll give it 1. Number 2, configuration. Do your team's AI tools have custom instructions, project workspaces, and persistent memory set up so every conversation starts already on brand? Again, if you're using that configuration, the instructions, project instructions, and memory, score yourself from 1 to 5 across your organization. 3, frameworks. Do you have a library of tested, reusable prompt frameworks for the 5 to 10 content types your team produces most often? Not individual prompts, tested names, like documented frameworks. Score yourself on, yes, we have prompt frameworks or frameworks in place 1 to 5. The knowledge vault, the knowledge bank. Do you have a story bank or knowledge base of real examples, real research, past work, client wins that your AI can pull from? Score yourself from 1 to 5 on that knowledge. By the way, I'm going to pause and give you a tip here. One of the things I did that was amazing is I keep my Zoom meetings over the last 4 years from when I started Sidekick Strategies as a business. They live on a side drive. I used Whisper, which is free, had Claude Code build a system that went through and transcribed every one of those videos and did an assessment for potential content ideas, for story ideas, personal story ideas, professional, as well as analyzing and giving me tips on how we could have better meetings over 4 years. Now, it took my computer running full time like 3 days to get through all of that process. But think about now what I was able to show and what we have from all the conversations that I have. Okay, so for knowledge, 1 to 5. Workflow. Do you have a documented, repeatable weekly content workflow that covers idea to publish to repurpose with clear roles, clear handoffs? Score yourself from 1 to 5. Okay. Now, add up your score. The max is 25. Under 10 means you don't have a system yet. You have got some tools, you've got some humans, and that's where almost everybody, by the way, starts. And that's okay. That's why I'm doing this AI content system series, to help people get from there to a better place. Between 10 and 18 means you've got pieces probably strong in maybe one or two of the areas, weak in a couple of the others. But the next sessions will show you which ones are weak and which ones you can fix first. 18 and above means that you have most of the system that we're talking about, and you probably have one specific gap costing you most of what is the consistency that you're looking for. And now you find it, fix it, and you'll be different in a couple weeks. Okay. So here's the most important part of this exercise, and that is, what is the thing that was your lowest score, the thing that was the one, and understanding like what's your ceiling item, because by the way, maybe something was a 5, but maybe many things were a 4. And so how can we fix the weakest thing, but also how can we strengthen the thing that maybe isn't, or things that weren't a 5? I need you to move forward from today and be thinking about identity, configuration, frameworks, knowledge, workflow. Like that's the pattern that we need to see. Ooh, Megan, knowledge in there. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. We're coming up close on the 30 minutes, and I want to give an ample amount of time for Q&A, which is right around the corner. But before we get there, I need to give you some homework. Oh my gosh, a job to do before May 1st, our next session. It's one task, but I'll say it's one task with big payoff. And so I don't want you to skip it. Like, make sure that you get this done before the next session. Before session 2, I want you to write the mini version of what we're talking about here. I want you to create the identity seed. And this is a 1-pager that has 5 pieces. What you believe, 3 sentences about what your brand stands for, not what you do, but what you believe. Number 2, who you serve. Describe your audience in their own words, specific humans, specific problems, specific stakes. I don't want your whole persona document. I just want you to describe who you serve in a very human and lightweight way, enough that you and potentially AI will know. 3, how do you sound? 5, adjectives that describe your voice when you're at your best. Now, I'll also add in not your best, but your most honest. What I don't need is your freaking LinkedIn voice. I need your real voice, like the real voice your organization would use / the real voice that you would be using. How or what you never say. The phrases, the tones, the words that are just not you, or are very maybe what you say and what you don't say, what you never say. So for instance, for me, I say humans. I don't really say people. I say flourish. I don't really say thrive. I say automagical. I don't really say automated or automatic. Okay. So like that's the difference of words I use, or words that you would never say in there. And then your proof. That's the last thing on here. One story that shows your brand in action, a real moment, a real result, a real human. That's it. 1 page. What you believe, who you serve, how you sound, what you never say, and your proof. And bring that to session 2, and we'll build it out into full digital identity document or documents. Or if you look at that and you're like, nope, George, sorry, I'm ready to run. You can start to run with these things as well. But in session 2, I'll be teaching and kind of building alongside of this homework and what we're kind of doing next and talking about identity. Okay. Now, I want to be straight with you as we head into Q&A about something. This 8-part series is a map. It's a map. It's going to show you how the components, the concepts, and the thinking work together inside of something like ChatGPT desktop or Claude desktop or Perplexity or an actual app so that you can start building pieces of your own system along the way. Some of you are going to want to go a little bit deeper. Some are going to want us to actually build, or you're going to want to build with us, not just kind of show what it looks like. And we'll do a lot of showing on this 8-part series. And again, this is me trying not to be salesy, but letting you know there is another level of this. And we have a paid AI content system training. We're kicking it off May 4th. Again, we're trying to keep it 4 weeks. It's an hour and a half each week. It's on Mondays. Try to keep the price super low. If it's multiple seats, there's a discount. Okay, enough of that, George. There is that you can go to Sidekick Strategies. You could be part of it, or these free 30-minute sessions that we're doing. Either way, I'm glad to be able to be helping people get to the next step. Listen, as we walk away from today, your content team is not broken. Your system is. The 5 components that we've talked about today, identity, configuration, framework, knowledge, and workflow, that's where you need to be heading. We need to figure out how you're not missing 1, 2, or 3 of those. How we can get you to not be a weeble that wobbles. How we can get you to be a human in an organization that is standing strong on the content you're creating for the humans that you're serving moving forward. Okay? So I will definitely see you on May 1st. We'll bring that homework that I gave you, and let's go ahead and just get into any questions that you may have. So again, if they're in the Q&A, I can scroll through those. If they are not in the Q&A and you want to just unmute yourself and ask the question, we can do that as well. Scott, where do you feel your current score is, George? And about how long did it take your team to get there? How big is your team? Yep. Okay. My content team, honestly, it's probably a team of 3. My one daughter helps with some of the publishing. Jorge creates some of the tutorials. I would say out of those 3, heavy lifting is probably me doing shows and strategy and what to write about and thought leadership because of being the main person in the organization. But it's 3. I would say that we're probably a good 4.5 on all of these. There's still some that I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, hey, I could make this a little bit stronger by doing this. And honestly, I've gone from what was super lightweight to where we are in about the last 9 months. And the activator for me to get from where we were at to where we're at now has almost everything to do with Claude Code and building a system customized to me and the organization and what we're trying to do, and then being able to layer these on. So about 9 months. I'm fast tracking everybody though, right? That's what these sessions are for. What the paid training's for is fast tracking people past the 9 months and getting them there sooner. But 4.5 on each of them, team of 3, about 9 months, knowing that I've been creating content since 2013, by the way, just the normal way. All right. Any other questions? Absolutely, Scott. Other questions from anybody? What AI platform have you found works best for creative agency teams where creating content for clients? I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm going to sound like a broken record that will actually, do I show that? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk through it. So I like Claude Code. And I'll give you 2 examples of why I like Claude Code. One, you saw my Obsidian. That was where I was. Well, actually, you know what? Just there is no secret sauce. I need this one. So this is my Obsidian, and you can see here I've got knowledge base and I've got client stories, but I also have clients. And so we've got this list of clients that are in here, which means for every one of these clients, we can have a client identity doc, a founder identity doc. It means that we can also build like scenarios or tools for them. So like 2 examples, Kaizen CPAs, we had them do our case study process, and they were like, we need that for our life. And so we built our Quinn writer, but we built an agent that is their writer in their voice. And so when we activate their writer and ask it to go through the same case study process that we built for our writer, it can spit out their case studies. And we've done in the last week 2 case studies for them, which previously they had none. So their sales guy has interviewed 2 folks. We got the transcript and we ran with it. Another client of ours, Lifestar, they have a weekly newsletter. They serve solopreneurs, by the way. And so we built, one of their people was like, man, I'm spending like half a day to 3/4 of a day putting this weekly newsletter together. Hey, let us take it. We built an AI system that looks in an entire framework of affiliates and websites allowed to go find around the web articles and their latest podcast and a podcast that's contextual to the actual beginning that they write, because it's human powered AI assisted. They write the beginning, they craft the subject line, and we bebop boop the rest of the newsletter together. But that's because we've built our Claude code and our system in a way that our clients are part of its second brain. So it knows how to interact, or we can build systems around what we're doing. So literally, if I can explain this maybe the best way, this right here that I'm showing you over to the right hand side, if you could look at an agency and an agency's website brain, this is the brain. Like these are all the synapses and parts and like HubSpot knowledge and like client knowledge. And so Obsidian allows me to see the brain of the system that is our agency and things we've built for clients with ease. Hopefully that helps, Amy. Any other questions? Let me scroll up here and see organization with an AI, Ecosphere, Chat, Claude, Cowork, Perplexity, Gamma, Nano. Dolly, how do you stay organized per AI platform and allow everyone to talk together? Yeah. So this is actually, so I pick what I'm going to use. And then I don't jump around a lot, but I also try to jump around and test a little. So what I mean is, like, it's funny you brought up Gamma. We've got a system where Morgan, our agent, through API can go design a document or a PowerPoint presentation or whatever through the Gamma API. We've got Gemini 2.5 where Morgan can create thumbnails for us. So we've got these certain API to Haiku. So there's some things that we're using, like our Claude subscription to, for the base foundation of just running Claude code. But there's these other little APIs that we're running to do these like tasks, because where it comes down, and we'll talk about this in the future, but you asked, where it comes down to figuring out these 3 things and then building the system and then running with it. It's 1, skills, tools, agents, and figuring out how you give the agents the skills and the tools that they need to do the thing that you need them to do. So now you've got a human that is empowering the agents to use the skills and tools to do the things that are happening throughout the day. All right, I've gone a little bit over. I want to be cognizant of time. Again, if you guys enjoy this one, you can either email me like a testimonial to this training. You can put one in the chat pane. If you have questions also after this, you've got my email. Just hit me up, let me know. And to be honest with you, this will probably be live and be rewatchable sometime later today. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. If I can get it done before then, I will. Doesn't that sound crazy? Or it'll be sometime before the weekend hits. I'll send out a link to everybody and you'll be able to rewatch this and take even more notes. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. Have a great weekend.